Hello and welcome to this special edition of Creighton in the Community. Over the last 10 years, I have interviewed many people at Creighton University, but without a doubt, my favorite person to interview is Father John Schlegel. Father Schlegel, you have been in the news a lot recently.
Proclamation reads, the 26th day of April 2011, as the Reverend John P. Schlegel, S.J. Day in Nebraska, and I do hereby urge all citizens to take due note of the observance.
I, Jim Suttle, Mayor of the City of Omaha, do hereby present the key to the City of Omaha to Father John P. Schlegel.
And you also have been inducted into the Omaha Chamber of Commerce Hall of Fame. And I particularly enjoyed when you said at the event that it always has been a personal goal of yours as the president of an urban university to be involved in the revitalization and the growth of a city because it fits in with your objectives of a priest. Tell me what you meant by that.
Well, you know, when the Chamber offered me the admission into the Business Hall of Fame, I demurred a bit, saying I don't think I'm the right person for it, for, you know, the priest piece is part of that, but also the role that I played in the community. But on closer introspection, and David Brown talked to me about, they really had in mind was the Creighton contribution for the development of the near north side. I said, you know, that does fit with my aspirations of, you know, the Jesuits are known for many things, and one of the things, we're agents of change. And I think this was a real opportunity to change, not just the Creighton campus, but the look of North Downtown Omaha as well. And we're also there to do the greater good. And I think putting those two together, we have created something very good in North Downtown Omaha. We certainly have created something very good on this campus on 24th and California Street. So when all is said and done, when I thought this was an oxymoron, a Jesuit in the Business Hall of Fame, on reflection, and second guessing myself, I became pretty comfortable with it. And I think the evening of the award ceremony, when I expressed those concerns to a broader audience, that they too understood and appreciated what we've accomplished together. Exactly
what is it that the Jesuits try to accomplish as they move into the urban areas?
Well, you know, for us, the urban strategy has been there since, you know, 1552 in our first university schools, because our founder was a great believer that you go where the people are, where the action is. And as Europe was evolving into a central city for that new middle class in the Renaissance, want to be educated, that's where we found our students, that's where our students found their careers, and that's where the church found its people. And so we have been pretty consistently engaged in the life of the communities we've been a part of. And one of my great delights, looking back 10.5 years now, is that I think with the team around me, we have ignited the Creighton spirit in this community. We have embellished the Creighton brand in this community, and we have made Creighton a considerable presence in the, not just the decision-making apparatus of the city, but also in the ethos and the spirit of the city. I'm very, very pleased with that.
Well, there's a permanent marker in your honor in the city now, isn't there? Schlegel Way. And it's located where?
It's Florence Boulevard between Cass and Cummings, which is the full width of the campus at 5 blocks. Total surprise to me when the mayor unveiled it. I had been party to putting together another street naming for former Mayor Mike Fahey. No idea that the tables would be turned on me. And in front of 2,000 people, it was not a terribly fair presentation. However, I think if you were at that event, you saw that I did appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm an urban person, and to have my name on a street, I think it's very, very appropriate.
Well, and it's just right in the middle of where we are.
As one of my wags, vice president, said, well, what do you mean? He's got his way. He's always had his way.
That's great.
Which is, I don't think, quite true, but there we are. Yeah.
On a serious note, you have never lost sight of your Catholic faith.
No.
How has your faith modeled you and helped you as a president?
Well, my faith is my motivation. It's my driving spirit. It's the animating element in my life. It's the key piece in any decisions I make, be they personal or institutional. It just is the skin I'm in. And I think it's been particularly good for city in the post-Easter period when we see nature reblooming all around us. The flowers are coming back, trees are blossom. I think that's how our spiritual life has been regreened as well this time of year. So I have always found my faith to be that compelling, that driving force, that engine that keeps me moving. And certainly running this institution, which is Jesuit and Catholic and has been for 132 years, I am convinced we're more deliberately Catholic than ever before. The number of social projects we're engaged in, the kind of curriculum we have, the volunteer service our students do after graduation, the kind of professionals they become, truly rooted in values and ethics. I think is a great compliment to the Creighton community right now that I do believe them to be more quintessentially Catholic than any time before.
You knew you wanted to be a priest. Did you always know you wanted to be a Jesuit priest?
I didn't know either of the above until freshman year in college. I had absolutely no desire to be a priest. I was going to be a lawyer and going to be in public service. Arguably, I could be the senior senator from Iowa right now if I probably followed those dreams of the Kennedy years in the early 60s. No, I had to make a college retreat. We all had to do under retreat master happened to be a Jesuit from Boston College, and the theme happened to be vocations. I knew neither of the above when I went into that project. I came out that Holy Saturday afternoon saying something had changed radically. I wasn't sure what it was, but 6 months later, I joined the Jesuits, and 47 years later, here we sit.
How did your family respond when you said you wanted to be a Jesuit?
Mixed feelings. Biggest thing is, we grew up with diocesan clergy. They had no idea what a Jesuit was. We were lower middle class. We didn't deal with Jesuit education or anything like that. And the only contact I had with the Jesuits, aside from this individual I'm referring to, was through history. I was a history buff in both high school and early years of college.
In a recent Creighton magazine, there's a headline that says, Creighton's economic impact on the state of Nebraska tops $787 million.
Right.
I was also, it also says in the article that Creighton's job force is 3,395 employees, and we're one of the top 13 businesses. We weren't at that point in the state. We weren't at that point when you arrived. You have really grown the university.
We've grown, but that first one, the $780+ million, keep in mind, is not money directly into the economy. It's what we call multipliers. My budget is $400 million. That is up from about 310 or 290 when I got here over the decade.
So not that much.
Well, 100 million, give or take. But what that does, Ernie Goss and his folks crush those numbers. What are the implications in taxes we pay, implications in types of jobs that our construction projects, for example, paid salaries for a variety of trades across the state. So that's how they multiply what is really a $400 million cash infusion into the economy, then multiply that to come up with what they've come up with. Yeah. So it's very good. It's the size of the faculty and staff has not really grown that much. The budget has grown. That's more a reflection of tuition and expenses and some of the implications of the economic meltdown we all went through. But the multiplier, the magnifier of the Creighton contribution to the economy is something that I was really committed to talk about, because everyone thought we were just a small little school sitting on 24th and California Street. And the two things I point out in any of my public addresses these days are these. One is the economic contribution to the local economy. This is not state money. This is not pass-through. This is real dollars and cents coming from hardworking men and women paying Creighton tuitions and fees. And the second thing is our contribution to the brain gain of this city and this state. We are 68% non-Nebraska citizens at Creighton. And the number of those non-Nebraskans who choose to stay here because they find their professional niche, they find a supportive community with a great lifestyle, or they find their significant other, and they stay. And I think that is equally important to the financial contribution to the community. And we're the only one in the state that does it to this significant scale.
And when we come back, we're going to visit with John Pierce. John is the Associate Vice President of Affirmative Action, and he has been at Father's side since day one.
I am Dr. Benny Upchurch, Chief of Gastroenterology at Creighton Medical Associates. My primary specialties are gastroenterology and hepatology, meaning I take care of diseases of the gastrointestinal tract and of the liver. I can identify with the mission of Creighton, and I love to take care of patients from all backgrounds. We strive for excellence and provide compassionate care. I'm Dr. Benny Upchurch, and I'm a Creighton physician.
What stands out to you as one of the most significant initiatives to cultivate healthy relationships with North Omaha?
I think Father Schlegel set the tone when he stated in his inaugural address that he wanted to reach out to North and South Omaha and be a good neighbor to those communities. And that really set the tone.
Most importantly, let us be good neighbors, reaching out to the African American community of North Omaha and the new Hispanic presence in South Omaha. I vision Creighton being such an architect of community, not because it is the law, or for political or economic gain, or even for campus enhancement, but because it is, my friends, the right thing to do. I see Creighton continuing to be a private university in the public service.
Maintaining strong community partnerships is very important to Creighton and to Father Schlegel. What are 2 or 3 partnerships that have proven most beneficial, do you believe, to Omaha and to Creighton?
Well, I think the partnership with the President's Community Advisory Board was very important. The board existed before Father Schlegel came, but he expanded it. He expanded it to include neighborhood association presidents who were in close proximity to Creighton. He included principals of the adopted schools that Creighton has adopted under his leadership. We adopted 4 schools, as you know: Kellum Elementary School, Conestoga Magnet School, the Jesuit Middle School, and Liberty Elementary School. And those initiatives really helped us to become more involved with the community, us being Creighton students, Creighton staff, Creighton faculty, and really in a meaningful way allowed us to use our resources even more effectively to help those schools and the students that attend those schools. Another partnership that I thought has been very good is the partnership with the Organizations for Community Inclusion.
Oh.
Father Schlegel, in his first year, agreed to be the honorary chairperson of the annual diversity summit that the Organizations for Community Inclusion started to have that year. And he's been the honorary chair for 10 years straight. And it's been a very good event for the city of Omaha. The focus is on diversity and inclusion. And in conjunction with that event, Father Schlegel has hosted a leadership breakfast. And typically, we will have nationally renowned consultants in the area of diversity and inclusion. And Father Schlegel always invites the community to that event, as well as the leadership team here at the university.
I have one last question for you, and it certainly has been my observation and that of many, that there is a relationship of trust between Father Schlegel and the community as a whole. What has he done that's different from others that have helped develop and maintain that trust?
The big thing that he's done has been to actually not only talk the talk, but walk the walk.
Oh.
Father Schlegel has been consistent in stating his goals and desire for more diversity and inclusion.
Well, welcome.
In partnership with the community, he has reached out to different organizations like the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance. He participated in the Unity Prayer events in the community. It was one of his first activities. He has an open door policy in terms of people, leaders from different organizations, leaders from North and South Omaha. They know they can come and visit with him and talk with him personally about issues, and he follows up. That's shown people that he is committed, concerned, and reliable.
Thank you. And when we come back, we will continue our conversation with Father Schlegel.
Hello, my name is John Burhan. I'm a family medicine physician. I work here at the Twin Creek Clinic. I enjoy seeing patients from the time that they're born, watching babies develop, proceeding with their school physicals, seeing adults, seeing pregnant women delivering their babies, the elderly and geriatric population. What a patient can expect when they come to see me for the first time is that they're going to get a very friendly atmosphere and a great working team, and going to get the best quality care. I am Dr. John Burhan, and I'm a Creighton physician.
Creighton University recently completed a strategic program prioritization. You released the report last week. What was the purpose of the prioritization?
Well, prioritization was taking a good inventory of the kind of programs we provide. We've had a tremendous decade of growth in the 2000s, and I just thought it was time for us to look at where we've come and where we are, where we want to go. And so the way to do that was to prioritize all of our programs, academic and non-academic, all 822 of them, from grassroots evaluation up to an overall steering committee's evaluation of what popped up and then put in front of me for some sort of determination. It was a resoundingly successful process. This time a year ago, I think everybody was somewhat fearful this was going to be an onerous, time-consuming, there goes my summer kind of job, and I think for some folks it was that. But generally when you get faculty telling me one-on-one and in front of the academic council, the best thing to happen to their departments, because they really had an honest look at where they are and what they can do. All right, so that's part of it. What we're trying to do was what programs fit the mission best, what are closest to the mission, what can we do without. How can we find efficiencies and savings in these programs, either by enrichment, elimination, consolidation, centralization, whatever. And I think the desired results, almost 400 pages, came back to me. The steering committee took this extraordinarily seriously, which was probably one of my biggest surprises and delights, that they did that and presented it in such a way that was probably a little more challenging on my part than I had anticipated it to be. I thought once the reports were done, the results would just come and sit on my desk and I would just go A, B, C, D, E. But it turned out to be much more cerebral, much more reflective, much more values rooted than I sort of anticipated.
Why now and why not wait until the new president arrives?
Well, a lot of things. First of all, I think the timing was right, and this was underway before I decided that this is going to be my last year. So this predates my decision to move on, but at the same time, it was the right time. We had grown, we had suffered the trauma of the economic meltdowns, we had gone into deficit spending and budgeting, we had done with a year without faculty staff compensation. So the timing was definitely right to look at the financial side of the house, and at the same time, do what was really the essence of the whole thing, and that is the fit for mission. So I think we're a much healthier institution as we sit here today. All the strategic initiatives are not going to be implemented overnight. Some will take months, even a year or so to get up and running. But as I say, about 19 or 20 of them are in process. Now that scares some people because they don't know exactly what the implications are to be in process. And is there a cutoff date, a guillotine date when it all is ended? Probably an artificial one. I mean, I can say tomorrow morning it's all over, but things have to evolve, and they will evolve.
Well, you've left the house in good order.
I think so, I think so. And the ones I did leave behind for the next administration are more structural. And they're things that that individual's got to be comfortable with as he looks at Creighton's administrative structure.
Thank you. Father Schlegel has been a strong advocate for women at Creighton University.
True.
To learn more about his strong advocacy, we'll be visiting with Dr. Barbara Harris.
I'm Dr. Shalini Bachala. I'm an assistant professor in internal medicine at the Creighton Medical Associates Dundee Clinic. I feel like Creighton has been my home and I felt more comfortable there. When a new patient comes to see me, they're meeting somebody who's going to sit down and talk to them and listen to them. I'm Dr. Shalini Bachala and I'm a Creighton physician.
When did you first meet Father Schlegel?
I met him the first year he was here at the Mary Lucretia Creighton luncheon.
And what was your first impression of him and how did you feel he was going to be towards women?
Well, I was really impressed because he said that he was well trained by his two older sisters to be a good listener and to pay attention to what women had to say.
Oh my, what else did they say about him?
Well, it's interesting because he said that at several conferences where he's introduced a women's conference, and so I took it upon myself to be a good social worker and investigate that comment. So I was able to get a hold of his oldest sister, June, who was able to give me some stories about how Father Schlegel came to be Father Schlegel.
Well, I want to hear those stories.
Well, it was interesting because she said that he was very obedient, he was very dutiful, he was very charming, and that that the two older sisters were not easy on him, that not only was he to dry the dishes and that was his chore, it was also how fast could he get them done, because there were more chores to be had. So when I asked his sister, okay, two older sisters, I know that you're both German, what would you say about being a German older sister? And she said, well, we were very diligent. And I said, well, you say diligent, would you say bossy? And she said, all right, yes, we were bossy. And she also said stories that he really carried his weight and that he helped cook, he helped clean. So he did a lot of the tasks that girls would normally do, and she really feels that that's what made him well-rounded. She was also quick to say that his development skills started very early, that he had a paper route with his younger brother, and that they'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, do the paper route, and then go to Mass. The younger brother would go out to collect weekly for the papers, and Father Schlegel would come back 2 hours later than his younger brother with full of chocolate chip cookies and with bigger tips, and his younger brother always wondered why. And his sister June said, well, Father Schlegel really learned the gift of gab at a very early age, and that the elderly ladies just loved talking to him, so they'd chew his ear off and then feed him cookies, give him a tip, and send him home.
Father Schlegel is certainly going to be remembered as a strong advocate for women. Are there 2 or 3 compelling initiatives that come to mind that you can think of that really shows his support of women?
Well, Joyce, you and I both know, it isn't just about the numbers, it's about the character of women that you choose. And so I just really felt like his legacy would continue because of the women that he selected.
He appointed the university's first female vice president in 2003. Under his watch, 4 women have served as vice presidents, 3 women have been named deans, and 6 women were recruited for the board of directors. His commitment to women's issues and leadership and his promotion of women's talents will be part of his enduring legacy at Creighton University. The Committee on the Status of Women is proud to present him with an honorary Mary Lucretia and Sarah Emily Creighton Award.
The recognition given me at the annual luncheon for my efforts on your behalf was deeply appreciated. My mother and 3 sisters were very pleased and somewhat surprised. One of the keys to having an environment that is supportive for the achievement of women is to model that behavior. And let me end by simply thanking all the women of Creighton University, be they faculty, staff, or students, for your support these past 11 years.
And when we come back, we will continue our conversation.
My name is Dr. Robert Recker. I'm a professor of medicine at Creighton. I'm an endocrinologist, and I practice at Creighton University Medical Center in the Osteoporosis Research Center. I'm from Nebraska, and Creighton is my home. The best part about being an academic physician is the research that you can do, giving widespread benefit to patients. I'm Dr. Robert Recker, and I'm a Creighton physician.
As you've made your final victory lap, as we're calling it, in visiting with alums, what have you heard that has pleased you the most?
You know, that's a great question, because these have been just wonderful, wonderful events. 10 or 12 or 14. We have 2 major ones left in Kansas City and San Francisco. They looked at a video, I give a little presentation, and as you talk, they are just so grateful for keeping the essence of Creighton where it is. They're very impressed by the transformational character of the campus. They're very impressed by the expansion of programming. But you know, these, whatever their generation, from the 40s, 50s to the 80s and the 90s, are just so grateful that we have kept our Jesuit Catholic identity, that we still do the ethics, the theology, the moral decision making as part of every student's Creighton curriculum. I'm just extraordinarily pleased to hear that. But I think what really, the second part of your question, what really surprises me the most is the depth of their gratitude. I am overwhelmed. I am in tears frequently as I just walk around the circle listening to people, listening to parents talk about their children, or listen to the next generation talk about hopefully the Creighton of tomorrow will take care of their grandchildren, kind of thing. You know, and I've just been, I guess you don't know when you get up every day and go to work that it has a cumulative impact at some point, and I just was not prepared for that. That is not just on the alumni tour, that's what we've been experiencing in the city of Omaha, that's what I'm getting private one-on-ones with a lot of folks I've come to respect in this community and elsewhere. You know, it's nice to be thanked for something you like to do, but we must admit that that gratitude really isn't necessary, because my affirmation came in the fact that I loved what I was doing. I have a passion for this place, and I think it showed, and I think it has somehow seeped out under the transits into the broader Creighton community globally.
In June of 1999, a name being mentioned on campus as the possible next president of Creighton was that of the president of the University of San Francisco, Father John Schlegel. At San Francisco, Father Schlegel was highly involved in civic affairs and had a prominent place in that great American city. But he had an unusual codicil written into his contract, which was that if Creighton University and Omaha ever called, he would be allowed to leave. And as we know, Creighton called, and fortunately, he came.
I would guess over the years you have collected a great deal of memorabilia, and I asked you to talk about that a little bit with us.
Well, you know, a lot of things come into the office after any given day. You have enough citations, you can build a telephone directory out of them. But a couple of things come in, some I can't share with you because they were very good bottles of wine that have already been consumed. But I do have one that is very special.
Oh,
it's a little yellow ducky. And I got this on my first trip to the Dominican Republic from a little boy up in one of the composts that I had carried on my shoulders across the river and up to his family dwelling, and spent the night with them, and on the way out the door the next morning, he gave me this. Now, this is somebody who does not have a lot. And I mean, this is 5 cents of something down there. It meant the world to him, it meant the world to me. And another more sort of engaging was this. And this is the mallet I was given when I became the president of the Boy Scouts of America Mid-America Council. It's a gavel of significant proportion, Paul Bunyan-esque I call it. And interestingly, I was doing Paul Bunyan for the Omaha Opera when this transition took place. So it worked its way in several of the advertisements as well.
When alums come back to campus 30 years from now and they walk around campus, what will they say is your legacy?
Well, I hope by that time, 30 years from now, that I hope my successors enhance what we already have. Campus expansion is certainly something that should be out there. Embellish academic programs, new ways of delivery. So when you look back 30 years, it's hard to really project what people are going to say. But I hope they do say, seeds were planted. Now, not that I'm just a gardener and an Iowa farm boy type, but seeds were planted, and the seeds were the intellectual seeds, the intellectual curiosity that comes from being a student at Creighton, the seeds of our values and our ethical perspectives, the seeds of engaged citizenry, which you know I'm huge for. I just really think students should take a legacy of being part of their communities wherever they are, take those professional skills we've given them and give them back to the community. So I think sort of a contemporary Johnny Appleseed, from just planting those seeds that I think I do know can grow well beyond an apple tree into a mighty oak, because the Creighton of tomorrow is going to be a mighty, mighty oak. But I do, from the depth of my heart, just want to say thank you very much for the privilege of being with you and working with you and working for you, for the privilege of seeing this wonderful institution evolve into what is going to be even a more promising future. Everything is in place to make that work. I'm humbled by our success. I'm humbled by the generosity of our alumni and friends. I'm humbled by the loyalty and the support of faculty and staff, and deeply gratified by the affection of our students. It is truly a wonderful place to have spent a decade of my life, and it will never, never be replicated anywhere else.
Good luck and God bless you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Joyce.
On behalf of all of us at Creighton University, thanks for watching.